Sorry, but we are not finished yet.
What a good place for that to end on.
Well, I'm sorry, Edgeworth, but you know, you're a little bit too late, because this is actually the start of a new episode, so you lose. You failed, good sir.
Boy, you're stuck. Did I just hear the freaking duh?
You might have.
That's weird. I've never heard that before.
Sometimes you hear things.
Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing those accusations on something?
I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on. With evidence. What else are you gonna show? Rebuttal. Mrs. Portsman's rebuttal.
Maybe he stole Apollo's ring.
It's a possibility, I suppose.
I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but...
Also, I'm gonna save... Actually, wait. It makes no sense, because I literally just saved like 5 seconds before doing this, so... Never mind! I take that
Hold
back.
it!
Hold it! My accusation is a harebrained idea, is it? Well, you know what? I'll just turn British for you. That's now.
You tell me!
That's not British.
I'd say it is, after all. After all.
I went into my Clavier Gavin voice on accident when I was gonna go into a British accent.
There's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Hold it!
God dang. That's just hilarious. Oh, and what, pray tell, kind of evidence are we talking about here?
Jim was my partner, so you can't say I had a motive for killing him.
And? That's it? That's not even an anthill, let alone a mountain.
But it's more than enough, wouldn't you agree?
Might I recommend that you review what the word evidence means?
It doesn't change the fact that the evidence doesn't point to me as the killer.
Well, that was a weird transition.
Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here?
Hold it!
By the power of...
Hold it!
Oh, jeez.
Ah, that hurt my throat.
Unfortunately, I believe I have already shown how earlier.
Your speculations mean nothing, as I could insist that you... Wait, what? As I still insist that I could not gain access to your room.
Close
that was
enough.
weirdly worded.
Was it now? This is there's an objection.
Did his brain just melt? Hold it!
Oh, what? He didn't say objection! Lame! You claim to have no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth?
Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot.
Very well then. I propose that you use this to open my door.
Obviously the gun. No, the basketball hoop.
I was actually thinking of recommending that as a random joke suggestion right there.
You should have used the prosecutor's badge.
What if they had sensors opening it up with...
Yeah, an electronic door that had like
Yeah.
a sensor.
Plot twist. We didn't actually know about that, but these actually exist. I believe you were able to open my office door with the master key, no less.
Objection!
Objection! Wait. Hold on a second. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know.
Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct.
Why is he only, like... There's no way that this circle thing on his head could work as a freaking headband.
The what?
That little circle thing that's on his head, there's no way that could work as a headband, but the sweat was stopping at it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no doubt. That's right, you use your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key.
It's just the thought of you presenting himself. You pointed to you to do it.
Take that!
That'd be funny. You would ask Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes?
Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know?
But the room you had Miss Bird open at the time was not your own, was it? What?
Ow. You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we?
I'm certain that was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir.
See? Miss Bird backs up my story.
Yet what if you had misled her? To fool her into thinking what you wanted?
And how do you suppose I did that?
By switching the number plates on our doors, for example.
That's right, they do slide out pretty easily.
Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give a very strong impression.
You got there in the end.
Close. That the door she was opening was yours, not in fact mine. What was it that Mr. Portsman used to make Miss Bird think that it was his room?
The gun. The dead body.
What was it Mr. Portsman used to make
Are
Miss
you
Bird
kidding
think
me?
that was his room?
Kratos!
Notify the victim?
Kratos!
What?
Are you kidding me? Dude! Are you serious? What's wrong, Mr. Edgeworth?
Even I wouldn't get tricked by something like that, sir.
Dude, are you stupid?
I suppose not. Gosh dang it, I'm losing my head right now. Man, what a bunch of jokers. Was Maggie really misled Mr. Edgeworth? I believe so. Mr. Portsman used this to give her the wrong impression. Oh jeez.
Dude! Are you being serious?
What was it? Oh.
Freaking moron!
Can I get on it already? Gosh dang it.
Are you kidding me? It's on the screen!
I wasn't thinking straight. Oh my gosh.
What? The basketball hoops there?
I am not okay.
It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why I left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar, whatever, you know, favorite prosecutor.
Oh. Gwa!
Gwa.
That's very true, sir, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's.
There were signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit in front of my office, to be sure.
I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture's a little off the racetrack.
Oh yeah, why'd you say that now?
Another argument.
Conjectures the bustle.
Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me.
Well, that was short. So he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he?
Well, obviously.
Who wouldn't, really?
I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket.
Praise the sun!
Shut up. And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears.
My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday.
Please calm down, for I intend to show you who is the only one truly covered in slime here. Close enough. Rebuttal. Conjecture's rebuttal.
Now you're just spouting nonsense.
Or are you? It's time to save!
Cheekbones hurt.
My mouth and the back of my throat hurt now, because I've been laughing too much right now.
I hate you so much.
What?
How did you not see that immediately?
Honestly,
Hold it!
I don't really know. Hold it! Nonsense, you say?
Yes, because I'm telling the truth here.
Or are you?
Alright?
You forgot to read it!
No, I didn't.
Or did
I had
you?
the girl open my office door. Hold it!
Using the master key, of course.
Alright, that joke's old. Sure, you have a problem with that? That is what the master key is for, right?
Perhaps we should place it in an elaborate labyrinth of some sort for people like you.
After that, I was in my room the entire time.
And what were you doing in your office?
That sounded like you were going into a different voice there.
Nope.
I was doing my usual training regimen.
I just read the first word differently for no reason. That's about it. Training regiment. Were you going through your law books from start to finish?
Mainly batting practice and some weights. Oh, and I jog when I get the chance.
So he plays baseball too. Okay.
Yeah, he plays everything.
Apparently so. Wow, you must be the buffest prosecutor we have. He doesn't look that buff. Why is he saying it so smug?
That's just his face.
I know. With the weakest legal muscles, it would seem.
I was doing my usual workout,
He
so...
doesn't look buff. He looks athletic, but not buff. I mean, I
You don't have
know.
a single reason to suspect me. Hold it.
I think I've given you quite a few reasons, actually.
Objection!
Oh,
None of
geez.
those would stand up on their own.
Objection! That sounded more like someone else. That sounded like Godot's freaking objection, actually.
Objection!
What about all the evidence?
Objection! It's all circumstantial. No judge would convict on such flimsy evidence.
He seems to be trembling a little. One more little push. All I have to do is find the flaw in his testimony. Now you're
just spouting
Okay,
nonsense.
It's back at the beginning.
I know.
I had to go up in my office door.
I drunk.
I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. And that's the end. Okay. So now you're just spouting nonsense. I had to go open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Do you now? If that was the case, then the note left by the victim would be picked up now, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Yeah, it would be.
There you go.
Objection! Objection!
Objection!
That was a lie.
What are you talking about? How was it a lie?
This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman.
A note?
It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. Dot. You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing?
Ah!
I was doing Shall I explain it in full detail for you with a few more ahs in there? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you.
Objection! That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me.
Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence.
No way!
This is proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you.
I knew you were gonna draw a complete blank on this one.
You remember this one? Gosh dang.
I don't know if I remember it, but I have an idea. Like, I don't remember most of this, I just have an idea.
Oh, because his door is locked.
Take that!
I had your door dusted for prints.
Yeah, that was my idea. My door? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time.
You're right, I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints.
Her prints? What do they have to do with anything?
Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched.
Ah!
Further, all of the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. And Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. That's... As I said, when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. Dot. And just what's so funny, Val?
Well,
Where's the sun?
That look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor. As he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear.
Something about that didn't sound right.
Yeah, I know. There's just nothing else like it in the world.
What?
Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit that the crime already.
As I said earlier, it's all so circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had that knob... I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down as well.
There we go.
Got it eventually. I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob you had touched. Which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim and mine fingerprints would be on there.
You made that up just now, didn't you?
Furthermore, as for the note Jim left me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like, early evening, for example.
Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway?
Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse.
That's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size.
But you can't prove that, can you? ...
Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir.
Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it.
Besides, I have an airtight alibi.
Airtight, you say?
I only realized that I had one just now as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner.
Oh, really now? What would that alibi be? Testimony of Portsman's alibi.
If memory serves, you came to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you heard that unfortunate confrontation, at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi.
Corroborate. It's not corroborate.
Jesus Christ!
Have you never heard me say that word before?
No.
I always
at least I don't remember it.
I always said like corroborate, like an idiot. Like what?
How did Mega not correct you?
Who knows? Maybe he has, or either that, he's just gotten sick of correcting me. So I don't really know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you really think it's that perfect?
Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself.
Detective Gumshoe.
Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. All right, that's cool, I guess.
Oh, my voice is getting tired.
Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. His voice is getting tired. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m.
You see? ...
All the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere.
I do wonder
Rebuttal.
about that. Portsman's alibi?
If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct?
I don't know, did we? Maybe.
Are we gonna finish this first case at some point?
Probably, eventually,
This is
you know.
long! I don't remember it being this long.
Well, apparently it did. Well, the first case of Apollo Justice was freaking 4 episodes long, and you said this one was really long, too, so... I'm not really surprised,
this
actually.
is
It says we're at the
episode
end.
5. This is episode 5.
Yeah, it is. First episode hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah.
At the time of recording this, anyway. Hold this!
Hold it.
You were correct. It was around 2 a.m.
Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time.
I remember checking my watch, and make no mistake, it was 2.
Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2. And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the criminal.
Criminal, culprit, same thing.
It is as you say. However,
Wait, you
it was
said
a criminal.
What?
You said culprit?
Yeah, I said culprit.
I swore I read criminal.
Nope.
Oh well.
It is as you say. However, it was a culprit, not a criminal.
Yes, however, you're the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So
Praise the
tell
sun!
me, did you see the person's face? Was it me you saw?
It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see, but my face was clearly visible.
Objection! Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? Why
I'm
don't
beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here.
Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit.
I suppose so.
But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs.
So you paid the Criminal Affairs Department a visit?
Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi.
Corroborate. Oh boy.
Corroborate. Well, we did go ask around to confirm your testimony.
And it was just as I said, right?
Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time.
See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve.
Arg! Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi.
Oh, BS. Which is a stupid software. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face?
Yes is a software?
OBS.
Oh.
You're an
I was
idiot.
I was like, what? BS? Like, what kind of software is that? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think we've reached the end of the line, and it's time to get off this crazy train. Rolling up the...
What?
That's an Ozzy song called Crazy Train. You there.
You there. Sir!
Please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle.
Maggie! Detective Gumshoe! Oh no,
Hold
I'm
it!
separated.
Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If I only had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? Oops.
It's time to logic.
I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic.
I want to look at my logic though. What was the new logic I just got?
You can in a second.
Mr. Portsman's alibi. The intruder I met could not have been Mr. Portsman, but then who could it have been? Another handgun, huh? Wasn't the victim's gun that I found? Could there be another gun in play here? Files in disarray. I rearranged my files twice. Once before and once after the murder. Why?
This one should be obvious.
Is it?
Are you kidding me?
The intruder I met could not have been Portsman. Then who could it have been? Okay, and then another handgun, and then correct.
That's my guess.
Is that obvious though? I guess it is.
Yeah.
There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime.
There's another gun, and the guy that you met couldn't have been Portsman. That means there's 2 people.
One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life. And one that nearly robbed me of my jacket.
Equally important.
However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been in the property of an entirely different person, which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Another visitor. Maybe the victim was his killer. Weren't the only visitors to my office tonight.
What is
Alright,
this
that's cool.
stupid voice that you use?
It's a great voice, isn't it now? Isn't it legendary?
You're not even gonna think about it. You just know that you have to do these 2, so you're not even gonna put any logic into it.
I didn't even actually read what I connected together. I have no idea what I just did.
Good
Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were appended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back, excuse me,
Then that makes his alibi just completely worthless.
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case.
Great, so you finally come to your senses?
Mr. Edgeworth! Sir, what are you saying?
This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I assumed that the person I ran into was a killer, but that may not be the case.
What do you mean?
The person I ran into was just your average thief.
A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts?
Slow text.
How did the thief get in here in the first place anyway? Why was there even a thief in this office?
I mean, the door was unlocked.
Yeah, but why did he specifically go up to the whatever floor we're on? Like the 12th floor, I think, right? Was it the 12th floor?
I would assume 1202 would mean it's floor 12, room 2.
That makes sense.
Alright, we'll go with that then. That also means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight.
What do you mean, 2?
Like I had to read that twice.
It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office.
Objection! Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know.
If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me. Which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time.
So then this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right?
Correct. And then just when he was about to look somewhere else. Who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith?
But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir?
He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office would be my guess.
How? Because you were supposed to be away, right?
He must have thought it was odd. So he came into this office to check it out.
Correct. As a detective, that was the right thing to do.
But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there.
Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him and then...
Bang.
Whap!
Whap?
Whap!
Okay.
He killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith, catching him in the act of stealing.
Dot 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 dot. I'm gonna put my finger to my head and think.
This was the moment in which the first shot was fired. The one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that, because he had also left the fake dying message behind.
You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that?
Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated.
There was another?
Visitor, sir?
Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so, they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found the prize.
The stolen zero file, right, sir?
Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during the brief encounter.
So the shell's getting messed up twice in the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times.
Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief, and it was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer.
I mean, if he was a killer, why wouldn't he have just killed you, right?
Fair enough.
Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection!
I like how they should gumshoe first. What's so funny, pal? I was on the other side just a moment ago, but I decided to jump over to Mr. Edgeworth's side for a moment.
Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything.
Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth after all.
But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial.
Duh.
Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is correct. Right word, I don't care. It would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant.
I'm gonna keep checking my jacket because I feel like it.
On or off, decide.
I almost choked on my own spit right there from that one.
But there's still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Who talks like this?
I don't know.
Your supposition that I was the first visitor.
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir.
But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point.
Don't say that, sir.
I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must.
You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. Not necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still a good question, though, I guess. I don't know.
That's a stretch, though.
Maybe. Testimony. Portsman's alibi, part 2.
Like you said, if the guy was a murderer and he had no problem murdering one person, he wouldn't have hesitated to murder Edgeworth.
Yeah.
That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left.
I suppose so.
So you think we should be out there looking for the thief?
Of course, now isn't the time. I blanked for a second. Of course, now isn't the time to be wasting time on dead-end discussions.
I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we?
Jeez. I'm almost surprised he's not bending his metal right now.
At least he's actually sweating now.
I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it.
It's like, if Portsman would have shut up, he would have been fine. It's like, that would have ended the discussion because Edgeworth didn't have any proof, but because this idiot's talking, he's gonna get caught.
Yep. Portsman's alibi, part 2.
That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say?
I would say so, and I also say it's time to save, and I also say it's time to end this episode, really.
Freaking serious.
Yeah. That's my rule. If we're at the start of a testimony, by the time
I'm
30
saying
minutes...
episode 6 and we're still not done.
It's 5 still.
Yeah, I know, we're gonna be on 6.
Oh. Regardless, though, it's always been my rule. If we're at the start of a new testimony, and we're over 30 minutes, then I just end the episode, because that's just how it works.
I'm pretty sure we're close to the end.
I like this music, by the way.
Whenever you do stuff like that, your freaking microphone gets really loud. You just hear nothing but background noise. Just
That's gotta be pleasant. Well, anyway, I like the song, though. It's probably one of the first... Actually, there might have been one other song. Maybe 2 that I've already liked. I just didn't comment on them for some reason. But I like this one, though. It's nice.
This guy seriously looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh character.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Well, have I already asked this question? Does he look like a Yu-Gi-Oh character to you, everyone?
It looks like he's trying to use that band thing to hold his hair down, because it normally would be sticking up like a Super Saiyan.
I wonder if he also... Yeah, maybe he does.
Doesn't it look like it should be standing up, but it's being held down?
Yeah, a little bit. I also wonder, since he's so good at sports, does he also play Duel Monsters?
Shut up.
You never know. Some people might consider that a sport. You never know.
They're wrong.
They're wrong that it's a sport?
Yeah.
I agree, but I'm just saying. I mean, for Pete's sake, people consider poker a sport for some reason, so...
Card games aren't sports.
I agree with that. Poker is not a sport. no card game is a sport. It's a game. It's not a sport. But
That's
for some
all
reason,
luck-based.
poker is considered a
Poker is-
sport.
Poker is mostly luck-based anyway.
It's true, there is luck, but...
I said mostly, not entirely.
Okay. Man, yeah, it's mostly luck, and then there's also some skill factor, and there's like, oh my gosh, I know those cards are already taken, so therefore I know my odds are this. And
That's
it's
logic. That's
yeah.
not luck.
Well, that's just knowing your odds, man. Never tell me the odds, right?
Counting cards.
Well, I like doing that. I'm bad at poker, though. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to... I'm like, oh, that's how many cards... I'm pretty good at blackjack, because, I mean, I've destroyed Tales of Exilia's, Tales of the Abyss, and all those other Tales games that have blackjack. I destroyed those games.
I prefer 5-card and hold them to blackjack. Blackjack, but I still like blackjack.
Yeah. Well, anyway, though, everyone, that's enough about blackjack. I guess we'll let you go now. In the next exciting episode, we'll maybe finish this case. Maybe.
Nice,
maybe.
pointless freaking card game discussion at the end there.
I like pointless card game discussions.